As a pastor, I carry a great responsibility for the care of words. Not only at the hospital, where I train aspiring pastors, but also in the churches, various churches where I preach and supply the pulpit. I care for the words of the church. At the hospital, I get to care for the souls of people who are suffering. And often my success in caring for their souls is connected with my success using words. The care of words and the care of souls are inseparable in the church's life. I care for the vocabulary of the church, as every preacher must. It's important work. Now, this work of caring for the vocabulary of the church takes me on some unusual assignments. For instance, I have had the delightful experience of serving in retirement services for old words not used anymore. We retire words, you know. I was over in Mission when they retired the word tolerable. Nice service. There were about 9 elderly people picketing outside the church, didn't want us to retire that word, but they insisted. The word was a good one, but the majority took the day, and we retired the word tolerable over in Mission. I'm going to Raymondville at the end of this month for the retirement of the word played out. Played out. You turn off the highway, and then you turn onto the state road, and then you turn onto the asphalt, and then you get to the gravel, and eventually the road. Sometimes my work of caring for the church's vocabulary is exciting work. I have been called in almost as a deputy to help retrieve words that have been stolen from the church. There's a church over in Harlingen. Don't know if you heard about it or not. Somebody broke in and burglarized this church over in Harlingen. A thief broke into the room where the church keeps its vocabulary. And the thief took one of the oldest, best biblical words from that church. The church was all distraught about it. The word that he stole was charismatic. It was found later, Joel. It was found later. I didn't find it. The word was found out on the street, being used by everyone from politicians to advertisers to hairdressers. Oh, he'll get elected. He's charismatic. Well, we found that word, and we took it back to the church, and we put it in the church's vault. Pastor there says he never uses it, but they know where it is, locked up, if they ever want to drag it out. I've been to court to testify. Sometimes when one of the church's words is falsely accused, I've been to court to testify on behalf of words. The word charity was up on charges in Superior Court in the county of Hidalgo, Texas. It was charged with loitering and vagrancy. Some people said, I don't know if it's true, some people said Charity had been hanging around downtown McAllen, passing out smelly and used clothes and giving away food that fat people didn't want to those who didn't have any food. They accused Charity of fixing broken toys and handing them out to children down near the border. So I was called to testify on behalf of the word charity. I did the best I could. I told the judge and the jury all I knew. I said, Charity has an excellent family background. The mother is Latin, caritas. The father is Greek, charis. I told them that the word is sometimes translated grace. Sometimes it's translated gratitude. Sometimes it's translated gift. But it's a beautiful word to be affiliated with the church. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the word charity in Hidalgo County. That's still up for a vote. Sometimes I go to churches and help them pronounce words. Now, I don't mean simple little old words like hypotenuse and viviparous and ovoviviparous. I mean, really tough words to pronounce that some churches hardly ever say. Words like God, Savior, hope. Oh, churches like to talk, I know. They say we've got a nice minister and a new building and a nice location. But sometimes they don't know how to say words like love. So I help out sometimes that way. So it seemed appropriate that when I was invited here to preach by your call committee, I began to ponder on what words to bring with me on this, the first Sunday of my stint here. Got up this morning thinking about it. Annie is helping me. She's participating in my pondering. She helped me get ready this morning, cleaned out my ears, shined my shoe. No, she didn't shine my shoe. Made sure my tie was straight. She asked, "Are you ready to go?" It got to be about 9 o'clock. "Are you ready to go?" "Yeah, I think I'm ready to go." "Do you have everything you need?" she said. I said, "Well, I think I do." She opened up my Bible, looked inside. She said, you only got one word in there. Is that all you're taking? One word?" I said, "Yeah, I believe that's what I want to take. That's it this morning." She said, "But there's only one word in here. You usually take more words than that." I said, "But it's my first try at them. I'm just going to take one word with them. I know they want to get out early." She says, "There's a lot of room in the car. We got room for more words." I said, "No, now, Annie, I'm just taking one word." And I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you this morning that I only brought one word with me today. It's a little old word, 5 letters in the English. It's the word place. Place. Not space, but place. Space is another word altogether, you know. Space is the word we use when two people have a place, but it's too close together. You know? And we say, "I need my space, I need my distance." And I don't mean the word turf. Turf. Hear a lot of that now in business, churches. It denotes a certain competition, doesn't it? Turf. I don't know why the pastor always keeps coming back to First Christian Church, doing funerals and weddings. He's long gone and we've forgotten him. This is my turf. This is our turf now. Turf is when a lot of people are claiming the same place, but cannot both occupy it. I don't like that word turf. I don't think it has any place at all in the church. It has a high fence around it. Electrically charged, no trespassing signs on the word turf, and razor wire on top to boot. I mean the simple little word place. It's easy to pronounce. Sometimes it's an ugly word. Do you know that? Sometimes it's an ugly word. A woman's place is... Just seeing if you're awake. Well, I don't mind if they move into this neighborhood as long as they stay in their... It's an ugly word sometimes. Ugly word. But usually in my hearing, it's a beautiful word. Beautiful. Beautiful. Why don't you come over to Joel's place and have a steak? There's always a place for you at our table. There's no place like... I have a warm place in my heart for our church. Lord, you have been our dwelling in all generations. But whether it's an ugly word or a beautiful word, it's a very important word. Very important word. I thought of it today as I was driving over here. I thought about the words in Dr. Martin Luther King's famous 1963 speech there in Washington, D.C. He talked about people of color claiming their rightful place in this country. It's a big word, isn't it? Well, yes, and no, and yes, it is. It's a word that helps us understand so much of human feeling and activity and behavior. Breathes there a man with soul so dead, who never to himself has said, "This is my own, my native land," whose heart has ne'er within him burned, as home his footsteps have turned, from wandering on a foreign strand. And the daughter, as she prepared to return to Boston, said, "Now, Mom, get your stuff together. You're going home with us to Boston." And the mother said, No, I don't think. And the daughter said, "Now, Mom, it's been settled. Dad is dead, and there's nothing holding you here, and we've all moved away, and I don't want you staying here by yourself. We don't think it's safe." And she said, I'm not by myself here. "Now, Mom, I don't want to hear another word about it. We'll arrange for the furniture later, but you're coming home with me." No, I don't see it that way. I'm going to stay here. I have my church, I have my friends, and I have my memories, and this is my place. And the children ran all through that new little house. A house with a bathroom and 5 other rooms built by volunteers, Habitat for Humanity. And the woman and those 3 little girls stood there in the foyer of that house, eyes brimming with tears, and the children running up and down the hallways, in and out of the rooms, back to the foyer, pulling on her skirt, saying, Mom, is this our place? Mom, is this really now our place?" See the look in their eyes. I'm talking about the word place. Can you still pronounce it the way you could 15 minutes ago? I hunted a lot when I was a boy in central rural Illinois. Grandma Smith had a farm, and many winter afternoons I could be found chasing the same rabbit through the bushes on Grandma Smith's farm. Now, I knew it was the same rabbit because every time he went by, he winked. One afternoon, I chased that rabbit across the road and noticed a parked car at the entrance to a field. I watched the 2 older adults get out of their station wagon, open the back of that station wagon, and remove 2 aluminum folding chairs. They set up those chairs there along the side of the field. They sat down in those chairs, and they held each other's mittened hands. Well, my curiosity got the best of me, So I went and I said to them, Hey, are y'all going hunting?" "No, we're not going hunting." "Well, are you here to have a wiener roast?" "No, we're not going to have a wiener roast." "Well, what are you doing sitting up here then?" And the man spoke. And he said, "I'm a Methodist minister, and for the past 25 years, we've lived in parsonages. And I'm going to retire in 2 years, and we bought an acre of land at the edge of this field. And in a few months, we're going to have our own place." I'm talking about place. You have to have that word to understand this Bible. From Genesis to Adam and Eve, the Almighty said, "You'll have to leave this place," after they rebelled. To Cain, after he had killed his brother Abel, God gave Cain the worst punishment you can imagine. He said to Cain, "Because of what you have done, you are never going to have a place in all of your life no place. That word is one way to understand the history of Israel. That intense, slim slip of land, so fought over, so violently contested, along the Mediterranean coast there, with Lebanon on the north side and Egypt on the south. That place, still contested. That word is necessary to understand the story of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah, pilgrims they were, wayfarers across Palestine, wandering from the north where Lebanon bordered to the south where Egypt bordered. Pilgrims and sojourners, Abraham and Sarah. And we make a lot out of them being pilgrims, and we kind of think like pilgrims were folks who had a picnic basket and a bedroll, and they rolled it out every night, and it was all kind of a mass safari or a fun adventure. It wasn't like that. Every night, Sarah asked Abraham, Abraham, is this the place? I'm so tired, Abraham, of paper plates and styrofoam plates and paper cups. And he said, no, we'll be moving on. The next night, the same thing. Abraham, is this the place? Now, Sarah, you know better. But Abraham, I want to get out my stemware and my silverware. We'll be going on tomorrow, he said. And then she died. She died, and he had to bury his own wife. He bought a little cave, and he put her there, and then he moved on. Not long after that, he quit looking for a place. Because one night, he'd had it up to about here with God. And one night he said to God, God, isn't this the place? And God replied, Abraham, you know better than that. I am the place. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. God is the place. Everyone longs to move toward and into and arrive at the place that is God. I preach about this place that is God because we are pilgrims together, moving toward the place. It is my job to announce to people that there is a place for you. The God from whom we come is the God to whom we return. And in the meantime, we are pilgrims on the way to the place. But my ministry is just not to preach about the place. My ministry, dare I say, our ministry, is to offer people a place. To offer people a place. In the meantime, everybody's got to have a place as they make their way to the place. I mean, that's what these chairs are for. All lined up, bunched up, close together, you know. Chairs like this are Christian furniture. It says to those who come in, we sit together in this place. We sit together in this place. Some of my fondest memories as a junior boy are sitting next to my mom in a little rural church in Illinois, and her big flappy arm around my shoulder as the preacher droned on, and I can still occasionally catch the whiff of her verbena. That's what these chairs represent. To say to those who come through that door, hey, no matter what, there's a place for you among us. Rich and poor, gay and straight, black and white, young and old. When you come in and you sit here in this configuration, you say to people, we have a place for you. Now, Annie and I, we travel a lot, and I preach in different churches, and we visit different churches. Recently, not long ago, about a year, I think, we were getting ready to join a particular church. I won't tell you where it is or what its name was. But we had decided we kind of liked that church. I mean, you know, they had some things going, and their worship was pretty good, and it moved. So we decided that Sunday morning we were going to go forward and join the church as they did. And so we said to each other, let's not sit way in the back and make a big stroll down there. Let's just sit up front in that church. And then it'll just be about 5 or 6 feet, and boom, we'll be there where they receive me. Okay, we'll do that. So we got there about 10 minutes before the service started, Joel, and we came down. Sure enough, we sat in that second row right there, and we got there early, and the organ music was playing. It was beautiful, beautiful. And I had my bulletin there, and I'd read it 3 or 4 times already, and found 3 or 4 mistakes, and was perfectly willing to tell somebody who produced it. And as I was sitting there reading my bulletin, I noticed a sense of someone standing next to me. You ever get that sense? Somebody standing there? And I looked up, and there she was. And she said, before I could say, hello, my name is, she said, you're in my... Now, I looked at the back of the pew to see if it had her name on it. I looked in the offering plate to see if it had her name on it. I won't tell you whether or not we joined that church. You're in my place. And this table. What a beautiful thing. Every time we approach this table, a voice comes through. There is always a place for all of you at Christ's table. I know some of you may not believe that. There might be conditions or restrictions or regulations about who gets served from the table. But my understanding of the New Testament is that it's the Lord's table. It's got His name on it, not mine or yours or even the Christian church's name. It is the Lord's table. The table and the chairs. A great witness to the world that we have a place for them. Now, I confess that it's easier to speak of the place than it is to offer the place. It's hard sometimes to offer the place. Do we really offer a place? I understand you're building an education extension on this building over here. What's your goal for that? Your goal is to offer the children and the young adults in this community a place here on this campus. It's not rocket science. They need a place, and we want to provide one. We're safe, sacred, loving, safe. Did I mention safe? Let me ask you this morning, does anybody here ever wish that you were just a better Christian? Just not a better wife or a better husband or a better wife. Do you ever just wish that you were a better Christian? I met a Christian once. The man had been an agricultural missionary in north-central China. He tried to teach the Chinese people how to raise their own food. And when the communists took over, he was put under house arrest. After some years, he was released from imprisonment and permitted to come home to America. His mission board sent him a ticket for passage. He made his way from China to India. From there, he was to take passage to North America. Well, while he was in port in India, waiting for his ship to bring him home, he learned about a boatload of Jews who were also in port there. You know, there was a time in world history, right after the Second World War, when there were thousands of Jews just sailing around the world, trying to find to be. And so many places they were not welcome. Well, this man, he learned about these Jews. They had disembarked from their boat and had scattered out into the countryside. And they were living in lofts and outbuildings and hay lofts. This man, this missionary, his name was Oswald Coulter. He heard about the plight of these Jews. And he went out to them in the meadows and the fields, and it was Christmas time. And he went to a barn and he found a bunch of them up in the loft, and he hollered up to them, "Hello, Merry Christmas." "We're Jewish." "I know, but it's Christmas time. What do you want for Christmas?" "We're Jewish." "I know, but it's Christmas time. Wouldn't you like something for Christmas?" So finally, to get rid of this pest, they said, "We would like some German pastries." So he scoured the city there in India. And he found a bakery that made something like German pastries. And he cashed in his ticket to America and bought baskets and baskets of pastries and took them out into the countryside. He spread the pastries before the Jews, and they fared sumptuously. Well, when I heard Oswald Coulter tell that story, it was at seminary. And there was, in the seminary audience that day, a very proper, orthodox, straight-laced, orthodox seminarian. And this young man, they're in a group about like this young man stood up after he heard Coulter tell this story, and he said, "Brother Coulter, why did you trade in your boat ticket for those Jews? They don't even believe in Jesus." And he said, "Oh, I know, but I do." Our musicians will come at this time. We'll sing our hymn of dedication.